from the UK, so big time difference. Many thanks to her for a little bit late this evening to get you all the information. And so I am going to go ahead and turn it over to her to share her screen and tell you a little bit more about the program. So Lorraine, it is all you. Thank you very much.
Well, hi everybody. I'm really pleased to be here today to present to you guys about our intern program. I'd also like to welcome all of you who are joining in person today, but also a quick hello to those who will be joining afterwards and watching this as a recording from different places in different time zones. So I'll just share my screen with you and start my presentation. So that just tells you a little bit about who I am and what I do. So as Tyler said, I work alongside the platform development team. I do a number of things. One of the things I do is I run the intern program, and here are some details about that program for those of you who may be interested in joining us in 2021. So as you can see, it's a 12-week program. We expect people to work full-time hours during the time that they work for us in that 12-week period. So in the US, I think it's 37.5 hours in the UK where I am, and full-time hours may mean something else in the region that you happen to be in. But it's 12 weeks full-time hours. It is paid. All the projects are coding projects, and we've been very lucky to have high school students join us over the years, normally just one a year actually, until this year when we had 3 joiners, and as Tyler said, came to us as a result of attending Code Day, which was just great. So I'm hoping that that's going to be an inspiration for those of you on the call today who are also high schoolers wondering how you get an internship. It may seem like there's a mountain to climb, but I'm hoping to show you today that it is possible, you can do it, and I would like to encourage you to think about joining our program. I've put there the dates of May through August, but we can be flexible on this program. I'm in the UK, as Tyler mentioned, and our schools finish quite a bit later than they do in the US. They usually finish in about May time, whereas our schools here don't finish until July. So sometimes we have to adjust the timing there for the internships to suit the location and the semester requirements of you. You can work remotely or from an LN office. In fact, as a high schooler, we would prefer for you to be office-based. Obviously, this year, that was not an option at all with COVID, and pretty much everybody who should have been working in the office was also working from home. And I'm sure a lot of you were doing school from home. So we all had to make adjustments to make that work. But in fact, our program has always had this remote element to the time that we started. So we are used to working remotely from each other. As I mentioned, I'm in the UK. Some of the developers are in the US. Not only are they in the US, but they're in different time zones in the US. So, you know, we are all working remotely on this team anyway, so it's not new to us. The application period is open now. I opened that up just a few weeks ago. Deadline date for final proposals is the 19th of March. But I want to say now, please don't leave it till the last minute, because your proposal really needs to be a good, well-organized proposal, and that can take quite a bit of time. And I don't see any reason to wait. If you think that you're interested in this program, by the time I've finished speaking, then get in touch and we can start you on the track for starting your proposal. We normally take on about 10 students a year. We might be able to take on a bit more, it just depends. I normally get probably about twice as many applications than I can fill. But then when I say that, some of the proposals that come in aren't as good a quality as others. So basically, I guess I would say to you, make sure that you produce a good quality proposal. On the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see some images there of resources. So on our website, there's a blog, and I'm an active contributor to that blog, and there's a blog in there, and I'll show you the link at the end, where you can find out everything you need to know about the intern program, which also links to our wiki, which you can see at the bottom, which tells you all sorts of information, again, specifically about the program. And if you join our community forum, then you will get notifications about the program. So application is by project proposal. That sounds a little scary, right? How am I supposed to prepare a project proposal to get on an intern program with a development team at HPCC Systems? I have had high schoolers say to me in the past, I'm just a high school student. How am I going to do this? When I know that you take students all the way up to PhD level, how can I be competitive here? Well, I'm telling you, it is possible. We had 3 high school students on the program this year, and they all did a wonderful job. What they do is they go to our list on our wiki and they have a look at our available projects. We have some suggestions on there for things that we are interested in people solving. And they take a look at the area that they might be interested in. Now, some of you are going to be really interested in machine learning. Others might be interested in cloud computing. Others might be interested in things that are more user interface based. So you can go up and you can have a look on that list and see what sorts of things interest you. You'll also see in the proposals themselves, the project descriptions, I'm sorry, that you'll see that it tells you there's a mentor for that project and also a little bit about that project and the sorts of skills that you might need. So Tyler shared with me some questions from students who aren't able to join today, and one of those questions was, what are the sort of skills that are needed? What is it nice to have? It's really hard for me to answer that question because those demands are going to depend on the project that you are interested in. So you should go and you should have a look and see what sorts of skills that you have. And you can also suggest your own project. So looking at the list might give you an idea. You might be working in a school that has a tech program, maybe a robotics program or something like that. And there might be a way for you to devise a project that benefits your school's tech program using our big data platform. That is the prerequisite though. If you're going to suggest your own project, it must leverage HPCC Systems in some way. When you're doing your proposal, you need to look at what the main tasks are and highlight those and decide what you have to do in order to solve each of those tasks that are required for you to complete the project. And that requires doing a timeline of work for each week. You'll see on the screen that I've put an example proposal from a student up there who has said, these are the tasks that I'm going to complete. This is a machine learning proposal. And each week, this is what I'm going to do. Just gives you a bit of an idea of the sorts of things we expect. Each project's going to have its own challenges. And we like to see that you thought about those challenges and suggested a solution. Sometimes, in fact, quite a lot of the time, and the developers themselves will tell you this, they devise a spec to do something, and then they discover that what they have devised is not going to work the way they thought. So then they have to make changes, and sometimes that can happen too, but that's okay. You have a mentor who is from the HPCC Systems development team who works with you every single week of your internship to help guide you. And if you hit a roadblock, they can help you get over that roadblock and make suggestions that help you to improve what you're doing. Okay, so we had 3 high school proposals that we accepted in 2020, and here are the stars of the show. I remember very, very clearly speaking to each of these young people, and they were both very worried about being able to produce a good quality proposal. Well, quite clearly they managed it, because here they are, having worked on the projects that you can see. Jefferson Mao, the one in the middle, he's the one that was on Code Day. I think he joined Code Day in 2019 and early in 2020. So I hope that he inspires you to think about joining the program. When you've decided that you want to join the program and you've looked at the projects that we have available, you may feel that you want a little bit of help, or you just want to talk to someone about it. You can definitely get help from me. My email address will be on a slide at the end, so you can just send me an email. You can ask me questions before you get started. I can help you get introduced to the mentor of the project, because I do recommend that you get in touch with the project mentor, because they're going to be able to offer some guidance. So if you have ideas for yourself, they may be able to say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about looking at doing it a slightly different way? How is that going to connect into HPCC systems? And they can help you to make sure that you can deliver the best possible proposal that you can. Also, if you're looking at the big words in orange at the bottom, we have a poster contest every year that all of our interns enter. And we had 4 prizes on offer, and 3 of them went to the high school students. So that was just really, really wonderful. This is one of the posters, in fact. This is Jeff's poster, the young man who came to us from Code Day. So he worked on a cloud project, because at the moment, one of the big areas of development on HPCC systems is our cloud native platform, which is still under development and won't be production ready until next year. And what Jeff did, he helped us to learn how to get our system running up on the Google Cloud platform. So when you're on the program, we don't just kind of say, okay, you're on the program now, that's it. Call us in 12 weeks' time when you've completed your project, and we can just take the source code, put it into GitHub, and we have your contribution. It does not work that way. There is an awful lot of support even before you start the program. So as I've said, you get support with preparing your proposal. If you want it, you don't have to have it, but if you want it, then it is there. Before you start working on your project, there's a welcome meeting where we talk through initial steps. Then when you've started, you have your project mentor, who will most likely be the person that you spoke to when you were creating your proposal. And I am always here in the background for pastoral support. So if something happens that means you can't come in on one particular day, or you need to have some time off, or whatever it happens to be that's not related to your project, I'm always here to help. We run evaluations, so there are 2. There's one halfway through and one at the end, and these are both reflective. So it's about looking at the work that you've done, and particularly for the midterm evaluation, we're looking at that to say, okay, what's your experience like? How are you doing? What have you achieved? What do you plan to achieve? What could we do better to help you have a better experience? How do we make the last half of your internship even better than the first half? You have to produce a weekly report. And this is not really sort of like we're checking up on you, really. It's a helpful to everybody, including you. So in those weekly reports, I usually suggest that students put what they are doing this week, what they plan to do next week, and then you can compare it week on week. And I look at them because I like to see, is a student struggling? Can I tell if a student's struggling here? Have they not achieved what they said they would achieve? There's probably a good reason. What is that reason? Is the reason that they need more training on something? Is it that they need more help from somebody? Because obviously, you know, you're going to hit the odd roadblock and want to take some time to think. But there comes a point in that when you're going to need some help. So I'm usually just watching these reports come in to make sure that your project keeps on moving, you don't lose motivation, and you get the help you need when you want it. There's a daily stand-up call, and this we brought in this year because everyone was working remotely and the high school students were not getting to go into an office at all. So you wouldn't get that whole kind of, oh, I'm turning up for work today, I'm walking past my mentor's desk, I'm going to say hi and I'm going to talk through what I'm going to do for the day. So the daily stand-up call was really there to replace that contact that you would have by being in the office, and it worked really, really well. We have other means of communication. So obviously there's email. I create Gitter rooms for all of the projects, and we invite not just the mentor and you, but anyone else that might be interested in the project you're working on that you might need to talk to. So you get to meet other people on the team. You'll also get to meet other people on the team by being invited to team meetings. I've created meetings for the intern chat and share, and you can see a picture of that in the top right-hand corner there. And that was all about getting students to learn about the wider aspect of working at HPCC Systems and LexisNexis. So we had people come to speak about what the data center looks like and how it works. We had people come to speak about how they got into the position they're in at work now, having also started off as a student, because we all do. And then somehow people end up in these really amazing roles and you wonder how that happens. So we had some people come to speak about that. We've also had some of the developers come and speak. So we had the head of the development team coming speaking about our new cloud native platform, so everyone could understand that. And then after 15 minutes, because it's a 15-minute presentation by the visitor, then all of the people in the room, the full-time employees, leave, and the interns got to hang out with each other, get to know each other and chat. And I actually don't really know what happened in their meetings after that, because I wasn't there, but I believe there was a lot of talk about gaming. So they all got to know each other a little bit like you would if you were bumping into each other in the coffee room at the office. So what do you get out of it? Well, quite a lot, really. I'm guessing that a lot of you will not have much experience of working in an office. And I think it's quite important to understand how that works. So yes, there are HR processes. Yes, people have to think about security, getting in and out of the building, not taking things out of the building that you're not allowed to take out of the building, different teams, different roles, different responsibilities. And it's really important to see that. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to introduce the chat and share meetings, because obviously if you're not going into the office, you're not going to see it. So I wanted to make sure that the students got that. And I'm going to keep that meeting going next year as well. You learn about project management. You've had to produce a proposal, and then you've got to put that proposal into practice. So you're learning how to manage your time and how to budget for time. What you're doing is research and development in a real world environment. So bear in mind that you're contributing code to a big data platform, but that big data platform is in use every day at our company, and other companies are using it too. So it's out there being used by lots of people. We have bleeding edge development like our cloud native platform that still is not really ready for prime time, but it's getting there. And some of our high schoolers contributed to that effort over the summer this year. One of the things I do find is that students start their internship feeling maybe a little unsure of themselves. And then by the end, suddenly they're so confident in making their own decisions because they've hit problems along the way, but they've got over those problems and they've been part of the process of learning how to resolve those problems. And it's just amazing to see the personal growth that our students go through by joining the intern program. And as I've said, you get support by experienced mentors who are developers working on the team. They're also doing their day job while they support you. They're still developing. So one of the questions that Tyler had was, what are the sorts of project areas that we're working on right now that are of interest to us? So I can show you that obviously we have the cloud specific projects, and also machine learning is a big area for us. We get an awful lot of proposals through for machine learning algorithms and extensions to the ones that we already have, and also use cases of machine learning as well. We've had, or regularly, we have a couple of usability enhancements. So they are things that are really user facing, that the users can see through one of our interfaces. And I just put the bottom one in because that is part of everybody's proposal. They have to show that they can regression test their code and performance test it, because when you join the program, you're basically joining as a developer, and we have you working in exactly the same way as all of our developers. But don't worry, we show you how to do that. We don't just say, okay, we're going to assume you know absolutely everything about using GitHub. We're going to help you to do that. That's one of the mentor's roles, to make sure that you can be absorbed into those processes. This was another thing that came up, except Tyler was saying, what's a day in the life of an HPCC systems intern like? And I found that one really hard, because a day is quite a short space of time. So I decided I would go for a week in the life. So you've seen, we have the daily stand-up call. You're working to your set goals. You know what you've got to do on any one day, on any one week. And it's all about achieving that goal. You may be doing some coding. There may be some training you have to take in order to extend your knowledge or your capabilities in some other way. You'll be having meetings with your mentor. You'll be finding out information from other members of the team, and you'll get involved in our own team meetings. So you'll get some kind of exposure to just the general development work that is going on the HPCC systems platform team. You're communicating all the time using all of the items that you can see on the screen. Jira is our community issue tracker. So you will have an issue in there that you're working towards that has a task list of things that you have to complete. And as you check in code, this links back to the Jira issue to show that your issue has been resolved. That's, again, how all the developers work. There'll be group meetings such as the intern chat and share, where you can find out about the wider company, meet the other interns, and at the end of the week, you've got your progress report. So I'm hoping that that gives you some kind of well-rounded idea of what your week might look like as an intern. And here is just a montage of all of the different ways that people contribute to our open source project as an intern, whether it's by submitting material for a blog post. The download is basically a series of webcasts where we invite all of our interns to come and present, like I'm presenting today about the intern program. You present about your project and what you've achieved. We have a poster contest that all our students enter at the end of the year. We have the intern chat and share, the pictures of all of the interns at the top. That's actually the Q&A session for the posters. So we have 4 guest judges that judge all our posters, and we invited them virtually this year to meet students and to ask questions about their posters as part of the judging. And also in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a GitHub repository there, and that's a GitHub repository from one of our master's students who worked on a machine learning project. So these are just some of the ways that you get involved in our community. And to finish up, here are some links. I'm hoping to send the presentation through to Tyler, so that if people need to get hold of these links to click on, then you can have them to hand. I can also post some links in the chat window, and I can see there are a few questions. I'll come to those in a minute. This is my email address. If you want to talk some more about this, or you have questions that you don't want to ask today, maybe you need a bit of time to think, then feel free to just email me, and I will quite happily chat with you about the subject that you're interested in, and guide you on your way. So that's it for my presentation. I think I'm just going to go and have a quick look at the Q&A now, and I'm going to have a quick look at what people have asked. Okay, so do I need to have a citizenship in the country HPCC is held to be able to be part of the internship? I'm not entirely certain what this question is asking, but let me explain how it works. So if you're based in the US, even if you are an international student based in the US, you can still work for us, because having arrived in the country, you will have had to complete an immigration status that entitles you to work for a certain period of time. It may be that you're limited in terms of how long you can work, and you will have to produce paperwork that shows to us that you have the right to work if you're an international student in a country that you are actually resident in. But if you are, for example, in France and you are a French citizen, then there is nothing to stop you for working for us in France, for example. I hope that answers that question. How many hours do student interns have to put in each week? It's full time. So in the US, that would be 40 hours. In the UK, that would be 37.5 hours. I don't know what it is in other countries, but you can ask your parents and find out what does full-time mean for us in the country that I'm in, and they will let you know. What is the pay like? Gosh, I think I'd have to go and look this up. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think that we paid high school interns this year for a 12-week period. I think it was $6,000, but I'm just going to go and check that up actually, because I'm struggling to remember. So I'll come back to that one in a minute. Is there any possibility of the work being in person next summer, or is it guaranteed to be remote? I would really love to be able to answer this question with a degree of certainty, but it's very difficult, isn't it, at the moment? So with COVID-19 and people working from home, it would be very difficult for us to justify having students in an office when the people who normally work in that office aren't working there, and it wouldn't be a great experience for you. So I guess my answer to this is, with the vaccines coming soon, I'm hoping that at some point in the year, we will all be back in the office, and then it might be a more realistic proposition to have a student work on site. But if that can't be, then the intern program will still go ahead remotely, and we will do our best to give you the best possible experience that we can, even when you're working remotely. I'm hoping in 2022, there's a more likelihood that we will be able to say, if you're living near a LexisNexis office, then you will be able to find a place to work in that office. I hope that answers that question. Then we've got, what are some technical skills that all interns must have? Technical skills, that's quite a difficult one. It's like I said before, the proposals can be very different for the projects that we have available. So some of them may require a certain type of programming language. We have our own programming language, ECL, and if you've got one programming language under your belt, the chances are that you're going to find it relatively easy to learn ECL, especially given the fact that we have lots of online materials that can help you to do that. I would say that if you are into coding, then you probably have a certain amount of skills that are going to be very useful for the project that you choose. I would say that for me, if you're going to join the intern program, then there are other qualities that are probably just as important. Excuse me, I'll just get a drink. I've got a crackly throat. So for example, being highly motivated, self-motivated, being able to communicate well is really important, particularly if you're going to be working remotely from your mentor. Knowing when to ask a question rather than suffer in silence is really important, because a lot of students feel that they should know everything, they should know all the answers, and we don't expect you to know everything, and we don't expect you to have all the answers. Nobody has that. Not even the mentors who have 20+ years experience know absolutely everything that needs to be known. So it's all about being able to work in a self-motivated way, but know to ask for help when you need it. A lot of the projects listed on your website have ideas that we as learning students don't know. Will we learn these ideas during the internship, or should we make sure to research these ideas as much as we can while we create our project proposal? I would say when you're choosing a project, choose a project in an area that you're comfortable with. In order to produce a good quality proposal, you are going to need to research those ideas, because you're going to want to show in your proposal that you have given it an awful lot of thought. As I just said, we don't expect you to know everything. Once you've got some ideas and you've thought through how you think you might resolve it, that's the point to approach the project mentor and to discuss your ideas and to get some feedback on those ideas. And then as you develop those ideas, you can ask for more feedback. And eventually you will have built on your proposal until you get to the final thing that you can then send in and then find out if you've been offered a place on the programme. I hope that answers that question. What is the time frame for knowing when your proposal is accepted? Is it possible to know before March when the application closes? Well, I'm actually about to make offers to 3 students in India for completing projects with us as interns next year. So the answer to that question is don't wait, get your proposal in, because we do offer places, particularly to students who submit proposals that we know we want to accept because they are excellent proposals and we want to take them and we want those students to work on the team. So March the 19th is the final deadline date. There will be some places still left at that point, but we will let you know that you have a guaranteed place as soon as possible. What is the acceptance rate for this programme? I'm not really sure what that question means, in all honesty. So last year we awarded 7 internships. We wanted to award 10, but because COVID-19 happened, there were some issues there. And in fact, we didn't actually know if we were going to be able to run the programme at all. So the fact that we ran it with 7 was really great. But we had something like 19 proposals, and a lot of proposals came in right at the end when students realised that intern opportunities were few and far between. And I think COVID kind of exacerbated that. So we do get a lot of proposals, and we probably get more than twice the number that we have places for. I don't know if that helps. So the pay, let me just get my spreadsheet up so I can tell you exactly what it was. There don't seem to be many more questions now, Tyler. Do you want to step in again at this point while I just hunt out the answer to the pay question?
Sure, absolutely. So thank you again so much. And I really do hope that that many of you do apply for this, and certainly feel free to reach out to Lorraine. To be honest, I think that this program is one of the best opportunities in many ways. One of those is certainly that I think many companies don't even have anyone you can reach out to. You know, you just submit your resume and you hope that you get a call back. So certainly I would encourage you all to submit for this. Contact Lorraine or contact any of the mentors if you have any questions in the meantime. If you want any feedback on your proposal before you contact one of those folks as well, feel free to post in our Discord as usual. And then also in our Discord chat in the announcements channel, I will post the presentation when Lorraine sends that over, and I'll also post a recording of this as soon as that is uploaded as well. So feel free to go back and review those. And then obviously in the jobs channel, we also have a link to all of the details for this that is much more detailed and contains everything you could possibly want to know, including some sort of, how would you describe the proposals that are on there already? Like sort of recommended topics, or, because I know there's the wiki that lists suggestions.
Yeah, so the projects that are on there are real projects. They are ideas that have come straight from the developers themselves. So every year I reach out to the developers and I say, what sorts of things do you have in mind that would be suitable as a 12-week project for an intern? And so the ones that get completed obviously get taken off the list. Any that are no longer relevant get taken off the list, and we add new ones on every year. The cloud section is the newest section that's up there actually. So they're all real projects. They're all things that the developers on our team have said themselves that they would like to have as features in HPCC systems.
Cool. Yeah, so definitely take a look at that. That's linked to in the jobs channel. And as Lorraine said, you can also propose your own. So keep an eye out for all those resources and definitely submit sooner rather than later. So
yeah, I'm going to see if I can just put that link in now in the chat for everybody. So let me just get to where you are. I lost you temporarily. Okay. There it is. Right, so the link to our available projects list is now in the chat. And while I'm at it, I will also put in there the link to the blog that basically has all the information that you could need. So just bear with me while I just find that. Incidentally, is there anyone on the call who took part in the HPCC Systems Data Challenge at the weekend?
I recognize some of the names. I think some of them were not, but definitely there's certainly a crossover. So the second link is the blog that gives you all the information you need to know about the intern program. And there's links to things, well, the link to the list is in there. The link that tells you some more information about what it's like to work remotely, what previous students have worked on, particularly the 2020 students. So there's all sorts of information in there. There's also a link to proposal guidelines that gives you an idea of what you need to put in your proposal. And there's also a link to an example proposal so that you can see one. But if you're going to apply, get in touch, just send me an email. I will be more than happy to help and guide you through the process. I like to give a little bit of extra help to our high school applicants. University level applicants have probably done an internship and have some kind of experience already in how this works. But I'm more than happy to give some extra help to any high schoolers who are looking to complete an internship for the first time. And I'm just going to put in the blog that I just released today, which is about Code Day, just so that you can see. And if you took part in that and you want to give me a quote about how it went, then I'll be happy to receive it and add it into my blog. Did you, were you able to find an answer to the question of how much it pays?
Yes, so this year we paid our high school students $6,000 for the 12 weeks.
Cool, great. Thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you so much. I know it is fairly late there, so I really appreciate you sort of making this as late in the day as we could to try to get as many folks.
Oh, it's no problem.
Able to join.
I'm absolutely delighted to be here. So thank you so much for inviting me along today. And I hope to see some of these names on the attendee list as familiar names popping up into my email at some point. I'd love to hear from you all.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for joining, and keep an eye out in Discord as well for some of the recordings and things. So thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.